Yo, what's good guys, I'm Fire here back to the video, and today I'm bringing you guys my full NFL playoff bracket. This is obviously a different style of video than I normally do, but I'm going to try and put out some new content. I asked you guys on my YouTube community thing, and you guys said you would love a video like this, so I'm going to bring it to you. And by the way, these picks are all going to be 100% correct. Depending on if you're watching before the playoffs or after, you will realize that every single one of these matchups will happen exactly like I say it, because I have the best football knowledge on YouTube. So just going to put that out there. Now my preseason NFL pick, somebody actually commented it on one of my videos like right in the beginning of the season. I think it was just after the Chiefs-Texans game. They asked who I thought would be in the Super Bowl, and I said Chiefs and Saints. Now, a lot has changed since then, and you see my prediction will be a little bit different, but hey, I mean, just based off a prediction, that's not too bad. The 1 and 2 seeds for a preseason prediction, so you can see my football knowledge is just off the charts. But yeah, I'm going to go through, talk about all of the matchups, and again, I will be letting you guys know why I picked somebody. We're going to start out with the NFC wildcard. Up here, we got the Bears and the Saints. Now, as far as this matchup goes, I think it's going to be, it can go one or two ways. Now, the first way it can go is if Chicago goes up. So, if Chicago goes up by any amount, let's say 7, I think this game can be pretty close. But if Chicago falls behind at any amount of by at least 7, I think this one will be a complete blowout, and that's kind of how I think it'll go. I think it'll be 10-3 around there in the beginning of the game, and Chicago is not going to be able to make up for it. Their offense is not good enough, and the Saints defense is very, very solid. So we're picking New Orleans. That's kind of a gimme if you ask me. Moving on to our next matchup. It's probably the matchup I'm honestly second most excited for besides Ravens and Titans. It's going to be this Rams and Seahawks matchup. Now, this is a very balanced matchup. We've seen in both games they've played. It's been very close. You got Metcalf, you got Ramsey, you got Aaron Donald. Really, it's going to come down to the matchup between the Rams offense and the Seahawks defense. Seahawks defense has been playing really well recently. They got Adams back. You got Carlos Dunlap. But the Rams are also getting cut back. They're also getting Goff back. But honestly, it's going to come down to if Jared Goff can make a play, and I don't think he can. In a fourth quarter situation, who do you have more faith in? I say Russell Wilson over Jared Goff, and that's going to be the main reason I'm picking Seattle. I definitely do like the Rams defense a lot better than Seattle, but the Rams offense has not looked good as of late, and I don't think they have enough momentum to take this game, especially in Seattle. So I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks in a close one. That one should be a really fun game to watch. Moving on, though, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Washington Football Team. It's going to be the Buccaneers. It's not a question. No, this one's not really going to be close. They might compete for a quarter, but really it's going to come down to the Bucs defense. Alex Smith, he struggled against the completely decimated Eagles defense with the likes of pretty much everybody out. Was only able to really manage 20 points, and that came with a bunch of help from his defense. So I don't just see how they can get past the Bucs. The Bucs are the number 2 team in blitzing, I'm pretty sure. And with that comes, you need escapability, you need mobility, and Alex Smith doesn't have that. It's actually going to be a pretty dangerous game for him to play in, if you ask me. But yeah, he's not going to be able to get out of the pocket. He can't throw quick enough. His receivers are not good enough besides Terry McLaurin, so I think Tampa Bay has it. It will be interesting to see the Washington D-line against the Tampa Bay offense because of how much Brady has struggled in the past with good defensive lines, and that Buccaneers team as a whole. You saw Chicago. The Giants game was closer than it had to be, but I think Buccaneers get it done. Let's not overthink this, boys. But yeah, those are going to be my 3 NFC wildcard picks. Let's move on to the AFC. Now, Bills and Colts. I know Diggs and Cole Beasley are on the injury report, but they're going to play. Diggs is not going to sit out in the playoffs. Diggs is going to play. I believe Beasley should play as well. And it's going to be Buffalo. Buffalo has the most momentum probably in the NFL. They would be on a huge win streak, I believe. If that Cardinals game didn't happen, it would have to be something like 10 games, like a 10-game win streak. I'm not exactly sure, but they've had so much momentum. They've been blowing teams out, put up 56 on Miami with their backup QB for a half in a must-win game for Miami. And that just shows you the kind of football that they're playing. So overall, I think Miami is going to be, or Buffalo is going to really compete in this one. It's not going to be too close if you ask me. Phillip Rivers Although the Colts have been playing decent, they're just not good enough. You see they haven't been blowing teams out. When the Colts really only haven't really blown anybody out, and you see Titans blew them out. Steelers, they came back on them. So Colts just aren't good enough right now. Philip Rivers isn't good enough. That offense, not good enough. Their defense, I like their pieces. They're opportunistic, but they can get torched in chunks. So I'm going to go with Buffalo. This is another really good matchup. I think it's going to be interesting, though. I believe Vegas has this as 6-point favorites for Pittsburgh. That's a little bit higher than I would say. I would probably put them around 4.5. But yeah, Cleveland, I do not believe they have their head coach for this first week. Pittsburgh, they have been on a little bit of a streak. They've been playing some nice football. They almost beat Cleveland last week with a guy named Mason Rudolph. So that shows you just if Big Ben can game manage or not make mistakes, I think Pittsburgh gets this one. I do like Cleveland, though. Cleveland's opportunistic, but their defense has not looked very good. And overall, I believe Pittsburgh has the edge here. It will be close. I say Pittsburgh by 3, around that mark. I could see it. But yeah, I'm going to go Pittsburgh. I do believe the Browns will cover, though. So if you're betting, I like the Browns at, +6. But yeah, Pittsburgh, I think, should win that. But either way, I could see Cleveland flipping it. It'll definitely be interesting to see how it changes the playoff picture, because one of these two teams will be facing, whoever the winner is. So it'll be interesting to see. I do believe Pittsburgh will get it done. Come playoff time, Tomlin has too much experience. But moving on, we got the last playoff game. It's going to be Baltimore at Tennessee. I do believe Baltimore gets it done, boys. It's going to be close. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be physical. It's going to be hard fought, as these games always are. But we saw in the beginning of the year, Tennessee did win. Keep in mind that was when Baltimore was pretty much at their lowest point. They were starting to decline. They didn't really have any momentum. Now they're starting to incline. They're starting to play a lot better. They're in the exact right time you want to be. You want to be playing good the last 4 weeks. They've been doing exactly that. They've been undefeated through their last 4 or 5 games, I believe. And I believe Baltimore gets it done. Again, it's going to be close. Can they stop Derrick Henry? They did a pretty good job last game, besides that overtime, obviously. But I do believe they stopped the run pretty well. I think it could come down to Lamar making a throw versus Tannehill. Lamar's looked really good, almost back to MVP form. Tennessee almost just lost to a terrible Houston team. So I'm going to go with Baltimore. But again, these matchups are really difficult to predict because they're going to be closer. They're going to be really close, and it could really go either way, and it's going to change the playoffs. But this is what I'm going to go with. Let's move over back to the NFC. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Packers. This is going to be a really, really good matchup. Everybody's going to be excited to watch this one, and it's going to be interesting. But I don't see how the Packers lose this game at home. Remember, the Buccaneers, they're in that Florida weather. They got the sunshine. They got everything. I don't think they're going to be as built to go to Lambeau. I can't really remember them playing too many cold games this year besides Chicago. So it's going to be interesting to see. Buccaneers could hang into it, make a little bit of a run later, but the Packers are going to be probably studying film on just the Buccaneers and the Rams, because those are they're pretty much only 2 matchups I would expect. So they're going to be studying a lot of Buccaneers film, expecting the matchup. They get 2 weeks to prepare. I like Green Bay in a one game matchup with the Buccaneers at home. And I don't see how they just lose first round. So I'm going to go with Green Bay. I don't even know. Did they have Adams? I think they had Adams for that first game. I was going to say. I couldn't remember if they did. Rodgers, that was probably the worst game I've ever seen him play that first time. And obviously they would have probably blown them out if those 2 interceptions didn't happen. But I'm going to go Green Bay. Rodgers is going to be on point. He's better than everybody in the cold, so we're going to go Green Bay. This is going to be a really interesting matchup. Now, I'm going to go with Seattle. And here's why. The Saints have not been playing pretty good. I know they get Michael Thomas back. That could change things depending on what happens. But overall, I think Seattle's playing better than the Saints. Again, I did pick the Saints to make it to the Super Bowl in my preseason prediction, so as much as this hurts, I do have to go with Seattle. I just see Russell Wilson making a little bit more plays. Breeze, he hasn't looked good this year. Let's call it what it is. He's in decline. I don't know if he can put together, if it's a back and forth game, I don't know if Breeze can put together that many, plays to win the game. I can't really remember New Orleans being in too many close games this year. And if he falls behind at all, it could get interesting. So I'm going to go with Seattle in this one, putting together a really good matchup, a rematch of last year. We'll talk about that later, though. Let's move on to the AFC. Chiefs versus Ravens. This one's going to be the Chiefs. I don't think this one needs a whole lot of explaining, besides the simple fact that Kansas City historically, the last couple of years, has owned Baltimore. It's going to be at Kansas City. And if you remember earlier in the year, that game was actually at Baltimore and they blew them out completely. I don't like the Ravens' odds in this one, and overall, they don't have the defensive pieces to stop that Kansas City offense. 2 weeks to prepare. Again, they're probably going to be focusing in on these two teams, Cleveland and Baltimore, expecting that matchup. So 2 weeks to prepare for Baltimore/Cleveland. They're going to be watching a lot of Baltimore film. I do believe they get it done. Even if it's a close matchup, I like my odds with Mahomes over Lamar in a back and forth type of a game. So I'm going to go with Kansas City. I don't see how they just don't get out of this round. So I'm going to go with Kansas City. Here's going to be an interesting matchup. Pittsburgh. Honestly, the Bills would probably rather play Pittsburgh, I believe, than Cleveland, if that's just me. So you already saw them play earlier in the year, even with Josh Allen throwing an early interception, struggling in that first half. They kind of blew it open that second half once they figured things out. Nobody on Pittsburgh can hang with Stephon Diggs. That's going to be an issue. Cole Beasley. They have that pass rush, but last time it didn't do a whole lot against Josh Allen, even with the likes of Cam Hayward. He played pretty well that game. TJ Watt didn't seem to do a whole lot that Sunday night game. As far as offense, Big Ben Roethlisberger played pretty terrible. He threw that pick six. He did not look accurate with the ball. It's going to be in Buffalo. That probably doesn't play too much of a factor, but I'm going with Josh Allen. They're going to be high off that Indy win, and then they're going to blow right past that Steelers. So we got a 1 versus 2 and a 1 versus 3 matchup here. This one's going to be interesting. I'm really excited to see this. It's going to be a rematch of that 2015 NFC Championship. Was it 15 or 16? I think it might have been 16 because it was the year after the Panthers. But yeah, it's going to be a rematch of that 2016 championship with the Seahawks and the Packers. I'm really excited to see this one. Again, that NFC divisional game last year was really close. I believe Seattle would have won that game if Malik Turner didn't drop that pass. But overall, I think the Packers are going to get it done. Their defense has been playing pretty well. I don't believe Seattle's going to be able to run the football as good as they have. And Seattle's offense really has not looked that good. The Packers are going to be a little bit more healthier probably. Seattle having to go on the road at New Orleans and then having to go on the road at Green Bay is not going to serve them well. Again, it's going to be a home game for Green Bay. I'm taking Aaron Rodgers in this one. But overall, I wouldn't be surprised if somehow Russell Wilson was able to pull off the upset. So, could be close. But overall, I'm going Green Bay in the Super Bowl. Now, here's a key matchup. I'm very interested to see how this one plays. But let's just go through the season with the Kansas City Chiefs. You see just a ton of games they probably should have lost. I know that they went 14-2 and they would have been 15-1, but they almost lost to the Chargers. They almost lost to the Raiders twice. They had a close game with Atlanta, close game with Carolina, close game with Tampa Bay. There's just a ton of games, and you see the reoccurring thing that they should have lost many more games this season. I know that in that sort of clutch period of time, Kansas City is probably better than almost anybody in the league at holding a lead late, being able to secure the win, but Mahomes was one dropped interception away from losing to Atlanta, who has not looked good this season, to say the least. Overall, against this Buffalo Bills team, you cannot make too many mistakes, and they're a very hot and cold team. Buffalo's going to have a lot of momentum, where Kansas City, they're coming off a loss, they're going to have a break, they're probably going to look a little bit shaky, if I had to guess, at Baltimore, kind of how they did against Houston. And I'm going to go with Buffalo Bills. I'm going to pick the Buffalo Bills to make the Super Bowl. I know Josh Allen on the road, there's going to be a little bit of fans, but I honestly do believe Buffalo gets that done. A lot has changed since that early matchup between the two, and a lot has to do with Josh Allen's play. He played pretty poorly against the Chiefs that first game. I don't think it happens again, and I believe Buffalo will be a lot better against that run that game. Because if you don't remember their matchup earlier, week 5, whatever it was, really Mahomes didn't do anything. He didn't do a whole lot that game. It came down to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who did run the ball pretty well. So it's going to be a closer game, and I think Buffalo gets it done offensively. And yeah, so I'm rocking with Buffalo. I'm just going with my gut here. Kansas City has not played well this season, and I don't know if they can continue to squeak by, because the squeak by thing works when you're playing Atlanta, it works when you're playing Carolina, it works when you're playing the Chargers, but does it work when you're playing the Ravens, the Bills, all these really good teams? I don't think it does. And even if I had them making it to the Super Bowl, I would have Green Bay beating them. But that's a different story because we didn't pick them. We picked the Bills and the Packers. So overall, this is going to be a really nice game. It's going to be the gunslinger versus the MVP. And I think these teams match up really well. We're going to see some nice matchups. We're going to see Diggs versus Jair Alexander. We're going to see Adams versus that nice secondary. It's going to be a pretty balanced matchup. Now, on defense, the Bills don't have that one like superstar. I mean, actually, yeah. Excuse me. They have Trey White versus Adams. That's what I was meaning to say. So, Alexander versus Diggs, Trey White versus Adams. It's going to be nice to see that matchup in Tampa Bay. So that no one really has an advantage in this game. I think I'm going to go with the Packers, though. Now, the reason I'm going for the Packers is because of Aaron Rodgers. He's been playing really well. Buffalo doesn't have too good of a pass rush, and Rodgers has only been sacked like I think 8 times this year, something really nice like that. His offensive line has played really well. Even without Bakhtiari, they've played really well. Buffalo doesn't have that one pass rusher that can really change the complexion of a game. I think guys like Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark can make a difference on that defensive line for Green Bay. But really, I think it's going to come down to if Josh Allen can make a play. And it'll be interesting to see. I think he will play well, but I don't believe they'll be able to run the football like they kind of want to. And overall, I like Aaron Rodgers in this kind of farewell type Green Bay season. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see. I do like Green Bay, though, over all these teams. Let me know in the comments what you want to see. But if you're seeing this after the playoffs and you see that every single one of my picks was correct, leave a comment. Let me know that I have the highest football IQ of everybody on YouTube. And yeah, so that's pretty much going to do it for the video. Again, leave a comment down below letting me know who you think will win the Super Bowl. And yeah, peace. I'm out of here.